All right, HBCU Legends fans, we have a great special guest with us today. You guys know him down in Tallahassee as Coach Charlie Ward. And we know him as the legend Charlie Ward, especially when I was growing up and seeing him what he did to become the Heisman Trophy winner for Florida State University. Now he's over the Rattlers program, and those guys did a Texas two-step, did a split with the Texas teams from Prairie View as well as Texas Southern. And
Right.
here in Houston, it was a good day for us, but not so good for you guys last Saturday, right, Coach? But this past last night, you guys had a offensive onslaught where you got
Yes.
100 points, and those guys were hitting from threes from what, over 75%.
Yes. It was a crazy number.
Yeah, well, congratulations first of all on the win, but welcome to the show, Coach. How you been?
I've been doing well. I mean, we're progressing, throughout, and we've dropped a couple at home that we shouldn't have. Jackson State was one, and Texas Southern was another one. Just our inability to close the games um, in those two. Our goal is to protect home court like most teams. You want to win all your games at home. And we've dropped a couple there. But we uh we challenged the guys on yesterday to step up, be shot makers and playmakers and all the makers we can be. And they were able to do it. When you go like 11 for 15 from the 3-point line.
Yeah.
That's definitely always great. We didn't shoot a whole lot. The crazy part about it was just 2 nights before that, we were 7 for 25. And it just seemed odd and off and different. And we very similar shots. We just missed them. And if we could have had just a, a portion of that production, not a portion, more than a portion, when we made seven. But if we'd have made a few more threes, got to nine, we'd have won the game on Saturday. But it wasn't meant to be. Those are times that we continue to learn from. And I was just grateful that the guys, responded well. We had lost four in a row, which, before that we won five in a row. And we've been in games, all the games, and we've been in two double digit uh, turnarounds, meaning we won one against Mississippi Valley, we lost one against Alabama State, but we were winning at halftime against Alabama State. And so all the games we played, we've had a chance to at least be in the game, and that's where you want to be as a team. And now it's just a matter of finding out how we can finish the games that we're winning in, and also we had opportunities, in the games that we've lost where we were down at home, we were down at some point, and we found a way to keep fighting back. And against Texas Southern, I mean, one of our best 3-point shooters, who was 5 for 5 last night, had a shot wide open in the corner to tie the game, and he missed.
Yeah.
And so, my coach Jeff Van Gundy used to tell us all the time, the NBA is like it's a make or miss league, and of course that's every league. But if you're making shots, you have a chance to win a good portion of your games.
Yeah.
And of course, you got to play defense as well. But the other part was we only gave up 62 points in that Texas Southern game, and that's the heartbreaking thing is we only gave up 62 points, which is for a good team against a good team. That's a good number.
Yeah.
That's a great number, actually.
Yeah, because Texas Southern, I believe before your game was averaging close to 70 points a game or a little bit more.
Yes, like I said, I mean that was a great number for us. And they only scored 2 points the last 3 minutes of the half, which is, I mean, we were at a bad number as well to get to 57. I mean, we were at 50, and so it was that type of night for us where we just couldn't find a way to get over the hump. And it was just us shooting ourselves in the foot time and time again, whether it was turnovers or whether it was just missed wide open shots.
Yeah. And it was also kind of strange because quite a few times Texas Southern had you guys tied up in the paint. I was kind of shocked at that as well.
Well, they that's their defense. They protect the paint well. They're a hard help team, and you know that's what their defense does.
Yeah.
They're gonna force you to throw the ball outside the paint because they're gonna help heavy in the gaps, and they're gonna protect the paint, and they're hoping that you miss shots. And the teams that they've probably lost to, I guarantee you, if you go back and look at their shooting percentage is probably high, because that's just the way their defense is, and you're hoping. And they had some great closeouts as well, but we missed a lot of good quality looks, and we settled. Last night against Prairie View, as I mentioned, we didn't settle, and we ended up with 15 total threes, and made 11. So we shot it at a high clip, but we didn't shoot it um, as much as well, and so we didn't really settle. We continued to put pressure on the rim, and we were able to get good looks.
Look, when I turned on the game yesterday, I was going back and forth between the Bethune-Cookman Texas Southern game as well as your game on SWAC TV, and you guys had a comfortable lead. And next thing I know, Prairie View is making a mad dash to try to rally against you guys, but you guys held them off.
Yeah, um, I'll just give you two letters that help fuel that. It's called TO, and it stands for
Turnovers.
turnovers.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, we had 23 of them, which
Really? Wow.
which fueled. I mean, which fueled all of their comeback. First half, we were up, I think, 30, and then we turned it over the last like 4 or 5 possessions. We turned it over, and they were in transition. They got some easy baskets to cut it like 22. And then in the second half, when they made their run, um, their shooter got hot, and I mean, he started hitting deep shots, which he's capable of doing. He didn't shoot it well against Bethune-Cookman, um, but
No, that's strange.
he got extremely hot against us, and they proceeded. I mean, outside of him, they proceeded to just put their head down and go straight to the basket and dare somebody to get in their way. And if there was any kind of contact, it was called. They shot 40 free throws during the course of the game, and we shot 29. We only made 19, which is not good. We missed a lot of free throws,
Okay.
but our turnovers fuel a lot of their comeback. And they were in transition, and they also, like I said, they made shots. Number three started to hit shots, and they just put their head down and got to the rim. And so that's how they were able to cut the lead. But it was really a 7 point game. In the end, they just hit a deep three to cut it to 4
Okay.
at the buzzer. But
Okay. All right.
they did make a dash back.
Oh, well, thank you for telling the story. And a lot of times when you see that final number, it's not really a
Yeah,
complete story, right?
yeah. I mean,
Well,
I saw it as well. I was like, oh, it was only 4-point game or whatever it was. And I was like, oh, well, I mean, I counted as 7 because he hit a 3 at the buzzer,
Yeah.
literally.
Look, for you, long as you get the W, right?
At this point, I told him we can. It's always better to correct after wins.
Usually, when you guys have wins like that, do you give those guys a day off, or do you put them right back to work?
No, we have every Tuesday off.
Okay.
With our schedule for during the conference season, we have every Tuesday off because we have to have a day off during the week,
Okay.
and so we have every Tuesday off, and we'll get back to work tomorrow and Thursday, and then travel day on Friday. We're practicing a little bit on Friday, and then travel to Jackson State.
Okay. So next up is Mo Williams and Jackson State, right?
Yes, that is correct.
All right. Well, good, good. Coach, let's talk a little bit non-basketball related stuff right now. First thing, there was this young lady on that Texas Southern broadcast who she was just so insightful and she knew so much about what was going on. And she had some inside information to the basketball team as well. And I was just listening to her and listening to her. And then when the play-by-play announcer said, "This is Miss Ward," I was like, "Oh, makes sense now." Your daughter, she did a tremendous job. How did she get into broadcasting, though, Coach? I know she's multi-talented from looking at her basketball and being a violinist and everything else. But how did she get into being an announcer?
Well, I mean, she went to school at Texas Christian, so she's in Fort Worth, and she majored in film, television, digital media was got her degree, and but she's interested in sports broadcast, and so we've been able to connect her with quite a few of the people that you see on TV. And so those are some of her mentors that she can reach out to, with Tiffany Green being one, Holly Rowe, and being
Great name.
another.
Yeah,
And so we've been able to connect her with, quite a few people, but her knowledge and insight is things that, I mean, we sit around and talk about. She's very research. She does a research. I'm sure that came through because she was
it,
giving me numbers. She's
yes,
giving me numbers as she was telling us about our team. Um, and so it's just her nature. So this opportunity came up when they needed a sideline reporter for SWAC TV for our games, and so she's kind of been looking for this opportunity to kickstart a career, I heard she did a good job. I
she
haven't
did.
heard, I didn't actually see it, but I heard she did a good job. But she's,
She's very analytical. She
yes, she
broke it
is.
down well and what the Rattlers should be doing and how they should be doing it. But she stayed really centered. She was non-biased, but she dropped some inside nuggets about what was going on within the team and some of the players' injuries. So she painted really vivid pictures of what's going on with the Rattlers.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess that's what they do when they do the homework and what have you. So, but I mean, we're like no different than anyone else at this time of the year. Guys are playing with nicks, bruises.
Yeah,
Some guys are playing through injury. And every team is doing the same thing. And so that's one of the reasons why when we're looking to construct a team, we want to have good competitive depth on the team for this reason. One of the reasons. The other one is to help push the guy who's playing playing the most. If you have competitive depth, if you slacking, you put somebody else in. Um, to
it's nothing like the pressure from underneath to get
yeah,
you put those fires on your feet, right?
Yeah, that's true. So, but we've been able to hold it together.
Hmm.
Like I said, we won five, we lost four, and now we're had a good showing last night when it comes down to just playing better for the most part. We've got to clean up those turnovers. But the great thing about it, we had 20 assists. Now that's a team high, I do believe, for the year.
Yeah, 20
Um,
plus. Yeah, 20 plus assists. You're right. Right.
yeah, so it was definitely, it fueled. I mean, a lot, which meant there are a lot of buckets that were made. If you got 20 assists, there are a lot of buckets being made, and so that was a positive as well. And we out rebounded them 41-29, I do believe.
Hmm.
So there are a lot of positive things that we can take from it. We just got to get those assists down, because last night was one where we had a big lead. And if we didn't turn the ball over, let's just say 17 times, the game wouldn't have been as close as it was in the end. Um, so because that meant we would have gotten some shots at the basket.
Right.
Whether they win it or not is not a big issue. But our turnovers fueled a lot of their transition points, which they were able to get.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, I'm glad you guys were able to hold those guys off over at Prairie View. Coach Byron Smith does a good job with the Panthers. But now you guys have what, 7 games left to your schedule, right? You're in the
Yes.
home stretch, so to speak,
Yes.
and right before the tournament that takes place in Atlanta. Talk about how this year has. What have you learned about yourself as a coach this year?
Um, I mean, the college game, as opposed to the high school game, there's a little bit more in depth and details that you have to, work out and iron out, um, and learning, when to call timeouts, and when not to call timeouts because you only have so many.
Hmm.
And so it's just trying to, play that game as well. Uh, but one of the things I've learned, and it's good to be able to have assistants that you can depend on, because that's their full time job. And I have some great assistants, and they do a great job of game planning and planning, trips and all the different things that we need for the organization to run efficiently. And so all that's been, very, very helpful.
Hmm.
And but at the end of the day, learning the SWAC, um what personnel looks like, um how to construct a team, because you're always going to be looking at who the best teams are in the league, and we know what that looks like. But when you're going through it, you want to make sure that you're in a position to be able to compete at a high level consistently. And so next year we'll be a little bit better when it comes down to just roster management and construction, because we had to do put together this team in such a short period of time, and we were missing a couple guys due to injury, that we brought in, and so it's kind of depleted our depth, and so now we're having to navigate through that part. But in the end, like I tell our guys, this season is this season, and whatever happens, we have control of it, and we have to do the best we can. No one cares if you can't practice in your own gym; you got to go somewhere else. Um, the games are still going to happen, and you still got to practice and be prepared and ready to play.
Yeah.
But I've learned how to navigate the system, and we're learning how to navigate the system at FAMU, in the SWAC, the coaching styles, all those different type, the referees. It's different than what I was accustomed to. But it's it's one that I will continue to learn about, and also know what type of players um, we need to be bringing to play, in a SWAC, because it's different. It's definitely different, and good. It's
Hmm.
competitive,
Hmm.
but then you have the culture part, uh, aspect to it,
Right.
where people are talking all the time, and you never know what's going to be said, and you have to be willing to deal with that part, especially in our culture, and that's part of it.
So, what about the fans and getting used to the bands playing and getting the fans into everything? Has that been an adjustment period for you as well?
Well, I was in college, so the bands played, and those types of things. I was accustomed to that part.
Okay.
Of course, I've been out of college for quite some time, but I mean, it's not like a huge thing. But you understand, all of that gamesmanship type of stuff where the band is playing during doing timeouts, and the band is always close to you,
Yeah.
if you're on the
That
road. And then, you have students. We've had rude students, and we have some nice students.
right, right.
And that's part of, that happens probably everywhere. Students calling you crazy names and all types of stuff. So you just roll the punches, and you keep it moving, but you always have to stay focused, on your task. And as a player, as a coach, you still have to stay focused. Like, they're doing their job. Like, that's one
Yeah.
of the things you have to understand is the band is there to do their job. The students who are in your ear, or in your huddles or whatever, they're there to do a job, and the opponents, they're there to do a job. And so, as long as you understand those dynamics and you put them in order, you'll be okay. But when you
Yeah.
start focusing on the band, and when you start focusing on the students, and then you lose track of what's going on the court because they're talking trash to you, and you're going back and forth, and they all of a sudden you just then lost total focus of what you're there for, which is to play the game. And so that's one of the things we're always talking to our guys about is, I mean, all that stuff's going to happen, trash talking and what have you, but you just have to go out and compete at a high level and allow your play to talk for yourself.
Definitely. Look, you guys have been doing pretty well. Overall, you're 9-13. Is that correct? And 6-5 in the SWAC.
Yes.
Okay. And look, you guys have done very, very well at home, being 6-3 at home. And of course, that's what the Rattler Nation loves to see, some wins at home. So um, I know you have had your struggles on the neutral sites. I think you're 2-10 there. But other than that, when you get to this stage, right, and you're getting into the home stretch, I know you want to see some of these young men get healthy once again. And do you think, okay, we may not win the SWAC regular season title, but there's also when the season starts over again in the tournament. How is this a good way to set them up to understand what type of team you have going into the tournament?
Well, every coach has the same philosophy, and this is especially in the one bid leagues. Every coach has the same philosophy, and it's you want to put yourself in the best possible position after the last game in the conference for the conference tournament, best seed possible. If
Hmm.
you're blessed to be able to win the regular season, that's a great honor. But you want to be playing good basketball, going into the conference championship, I mean tournament, so that you can give yourself a chance. And so, because this is your chance to win the championship, because if you do conference championship, then that means you're going to be going to the NCAA tournament. And
Hmm.
so everyone who has this, every team has the same philosophy. in the one bid lead, because if you know you're only going to get one spot, I mean, you got to put forth your best effort
Right.
during that stretch run in the tournament. And so the goal is we're going through this season to see what type of seeding, the best seeding we can get. And then once we get there, you want to put yourself in a favorable position where you're not having to play 5 games or whatever the number is to win a championship. You want to be playing 3 to try to get there, as opposed to 5 or whatever the number is if you're like playing the first night.
Right.
And so, that's the goal for us, is to have the best seed possible so that we can give ourselves at least a chance, because playing 5 games in 5 nights, you know, you got to have great depth,
Hmm.
as opposed to playing 3 games in 3 nights. It's a little bit different challenge. Doesn't mean it can't happen, but it just makes it a little bit more difficult if you're having to play 5 and 4. I mean, 5 and 5 nights.
Yeah. Look, it's a great point that you make, but we have also seen Coach Johnny Jones down here in Houston take the Texas Southern Tigers when they're on lower seeds and
Hmm.
win that tournament. So
Right.
it's always, the opportunity is always there and present for a team to do so. Let's talk about your foundation. Your foundation, guys. I think you are establishing the Charlie Ward Foundation Ranch. Is that correct?
It's called the Champions Ranch.
The Champions Ranch. Okay. And talk about the Champions Ranch and what is expected for people across the nation who can come in and participate.
Well, my wife and I, we have a family foundation, and we've done some programming and events and different camps throughout our journey of being married. And even before we were married, we did community outreach events as well. And you know, the Champions Ranch is a vehicle for our mission to support youth character development through sports education, wellness, and the arts. And it's helped build stronger families as well, as the adults and the youth. And this was fueled by you know us doing programs, being a part of programs, as well as having camps that were off site. We used to have a camp that we did we did a boys camp in Erie, Pennsylvania. Now
Really?
I'm not from Erie, but
Okay.
I had a friend who was our camp director. He was from Erie, and he worked at a, a, a a complex very similar to what we're looking to build. And we had our camp up there, and we brought people from Atlanta, from Georgia, Florida, New York, Connecticut, places where we have relationships, Texas, and to Erie, Pennsylvania. And so we're looking to work to build a very similar type of campus here in Tallahassee, to where we can have opportunities for the local community, but also have regional programming and services, as well as events for you know national or global partners. And it's a collaborative, collective impact model, which means we're partnering with other nonprofits and for profits to provide the programs and services at the Champions Ranch. And so that's where the partnership model comes in. We'll have programming from day one because of the partners that we will have on campus.
Hmm.
And we're not reinventing the wheel, also because we have mentors that have built facilities, running facilities like the one that we're looking to do now. So they've been very helpful in us, building where we are. And of course, we've had a great group of individuals and families that have supported us to where we are today. with our capital campaign. And so we'll be preparing here in the next month or so of moving dirt,
Really?
which is a
Congratulations.
great start.
Yeah.
So we'll have some programming going on um, by the end of the year, and so
Wow.
that's a start for us to be able to um, get to where we're trying to get to, which is to be able to have this is a doggy, to be able to get to where we're trying to continue to have a great impact on our community, the youth and the adults that will be attending.
Yeah. Look, that's a tremendous that you guys are going to be breaking ground. Now, what's your doggy's name?
This is Zeus.
Zeus.
You
And
see those Zeus? This
what's
is
on Zeus's is that a sweater?
yes. His mom. His mom is like our nephew. So his mom is I don't say bougie, but she's very particular. And so he has an outfit for every day that he's here.
Really? Oh,
Yes.
wow.
And he has pajamas and all of that. So
Zeus said it's time to play, Daddy.
yeah. All right.
It's time to play. All right. I won't keep him much longer, Zeus, man. But Coach, tell everybody how they can be able to help you guys with the campaign if they want to contribute, if they want to give their time, their efforts, their talents. Can they get involved?
You can go to championsranch.org for more information on how to give and also to see where we are, what the Champions Ranch is all about. And that'd be a great place to be able to give. If you want to give, we have a paver campaign as well. If you're interested in having your name or having someone's name be a part of the foundation, that would be great also. So but it's championsranch.org.
championsranch.org. We'll put that out there for you as well. Uh, but if you haven't noticed over my shoulder, there's a guy named Doug Williams here, that
Oh
number
yeah.
17. Has some really great relevance for you as well. Talk about that as well as your relationship with Doug, if you have one.
Yeah, I mean that's the reason why ward number 17. He was a um, hero of mine. Of course, with him being the first black quarterback to win a Super Bowl was a great feat. And then I got an opportunity to meet him my junior year at college. He came to one of our football games and had him over, you know, for dinner after the game with the family. And he was, friends with Warwick's mom, or he knew Warwick's mom because
Wow.
they're from Louisiana.
Louisiana, right?
And he was the one that, kind of shared with me that he wanted me to take care of Warwick when he came to Florida State. And so I didn't have a roommate at the time, and so I ended up asking them to have Warwick as my roommate, and it was just a great fit for both of us. A younger guy who needed an older guy, someone that was willing to listen, with the tragedy of his mom,
Yeah.
and it also showed him, what I went through my senior year of just being able to handle all the fanfare, and he was kind of in the mix of it all as well, and then he became who he became, and he was able to still stay grounded in who he was and not feel like he had to be somebody else. And so all those things, we kind of helped each other navigate our lives, during that time, to help one another.
Yeah. Look, I'm from New Orleans, Louisiana, and Warwick, I know it was Baton Rouge boy, right? And
Yes,
but
from
what
Baton
he's
Rouge.
been able to do for families to build those homes is just outstanding. And every year he's changing lives every year and keeping it going. So I know you're very proud of him.
Yes, his heart has always been big, to help, and then he has the mission to honor his mom, who was a great blessing for him and taught him a lot. And so this is a way that he's able to honor his mom through the giving of the homes. It used to be not just single moms, but now he's expanded it, a lot to single dads that are involved as well, and others. And so just grateful and happy for him using his resources to be able to help someone else, which is who he is.
Yeah. Well, looks like you've done a lot of that as well. When I was part of covering the New Orleans Saints, I got a chance to cover Jameis Winston. Interviewed him a few times. Let's see, it's you, Winston, and Winky, right? The
Correct.
three Heisman Trophy winners that came from Florida State, and I still remember. I think this is a little bit before your time. It was the second game that Florida State kicked it wide right against Miami, and it was at Florida State, and I got a chance to get into the locker room because my young cousin was being recruited by you guys over at the Seminoles, and but I still recall Coach Bowden's face, how he really cared about his players, and he spoke about that afterward to reporters and everything. So it had to be really good to be able to learn under him and be in that space.
Unfortunately, I was there for that kick. So it was, but I mean, Coach Bowden was a great man. He did care for the players. He was very player centered, based because of his faith. And he wanted guys to be successful and wanted to
Hmm.
help young men be successful. And so he placed coaches around us that cared for us. It was a family environment, which that's one of the things that I work to try to do as a head coach, is to have an environment where family is uh, wanted and a part of it. And of course, you want to win, but you don't want to lose, at home. Um, and so we work to try to have a good balance of doing both.
Yeah. Well, look, talk about your faith right quick. That has, I was always, I always admired how your faith led you on your different journeys. Because when you were assistant coach here in Houston with the Rockets and everything, uh, you would talk about that from time to time. Why is
Uh,
that so important, and how it has it been able to help you and your family?
well, I mean, it just gives you purpose on why you do what you do. And your faith journey, everyone has one, whether we recognize it or not. Some don't recognize it, and they struggle, and some do recognize it. And when you do recognize it, you understand that you're not in this alone. And everything that you go through is a part of God's plan for your life, and it's to be able to help you manage and understand why you're going through it, so that you can help someone else. So it's part of who we are. I mean, when I grew up in a Christian household, we're about treating people with respect, just like Jesus did. Even people who you know wanted him dead or didn't like him, he still treated people with respect. And I think that's part of what we want to be. Is we want to be a culture of just who God has called us to be, because He created us all.
Yeah, yeah. Living your life on purpose. Old evangelist Miles Monroe,
Hmm.
I would read and listen to him when I was a young man, just getting out of Morehouse College, and he helped me turn my life around, as well as Kirby John Caldwell here in the Houston
Mhm.
area with Windsor Village. So,
I
very
was I was just with Ray Beatty.
were you?
Um, no, just it was this past summer. We went to Chicago, and I got a chance to see Ray while I
Wow,
was up there.
wow, good, good. Well, Coach, um, everybody go to help out with the foundation and the help those guys break ground, but we want to be able to pour more into what you guys are doing in Tallahassee as well. That's seems like it's going to be a great camp for the young people, but also if you have the talents, like I said, go and help out and see if you can become a mentor and volunteer as well. Coach, I really do appreciate spending some time. I've always wanted to have this conversation with you. And now we are finally able to connect because now you're part of the HBCU family.
Yes,
Well,
officially.
yeah, officially, yeah. And oh,
Yeah.
last thing, how is it to have a president like Marva Johnson to help you guys out and have her savviness, especially when it comes to working with young people?
Yeah, Madam President is what I call her. Is she's been very helpful, for me. She wasn't the president when I was hired. There was an interim president during that time, and then when she was hired, there was a lot around that. But one of the things that I can say about her is she has been willing to help support us uh, to try to stay on track. When we were going through the process, when we didn't have an athletic director and we were trying to get things done,
Right,
she worked to make sure we had what we needed to be successful. And she's been very open and honest about supporting athletics because she has a understanding that that's a big part of the university and that it needs to thrive, and the support needed for us to be able to thrive. She understands that as well, and so having our new athletic director, John Davis, who actually I came into. We were in the same class at Florida State.
were you okay?
Yeah, we were in the same class. He was a safety. Of course, I was a quarterback, and so we used to go at it in practice. But we were, having him on board, both of them with their business savvy, because in this day and age, you got to be business savvy
Right,
to run these institutions and athletic departments. Because if you're not, you're going to be behind the eight ball, chasing. And so it's important to have people who have been in that realm, and they can build great relationships, and they're great leaders and accountability, all the things that leads to success. So she's been very good. She's brought some fresh blood to the university, which is another good thing. And so looking forward to being under her leadership for the next. She's almost not quite a year, but when next 4 or 5 years, um, and hopefully longer. By that time, we'll be close to what FSU looks like, um, because you know partnerships are always great.
right.
And the HBC world, we always seem like we always get the leftovers in some form or
Mm,
fashion.
mm.
And now, hopefully, we're not getting leftovers, but we're in the mix when we're having these conversations,
Yeah,
with these conversations of collaboration with businesses and other things. And it takes business minded people to be able to sit in those rooms or have already been in those rooms and bring those relationships in to be able to help support at a higher level than what we are currently working at now. And so hopefully, and I know I mean, she's just who she is.
Yeah, she has her own legacy that she has left, especially when it comes to what media, broadcasting, and everything
Yes.
else. Right.
Yeah.
Uh, Kelvin Sampson said that U of H, even though they're nationally ranked and could have won the national championship last year, that they were poor. And I know he kind of backtracked and said that there was a poor
Yes.
choice of words.
Yes.
But when you look at the HBCU landscape, they're very wealthy, in our opinion. What can some of the sponsors and people who appreciate your program do to help out?
Well, of course, like I said, we're behind, and we're light years behind because of just not having stability in leadership. I mean that plays a big part in any business, school, marriage, wherever. If you have great stability, and you're willing to work with people, you can build something great. And that's why it's very important for us to have stability, whether it's in the coaching staffs on campus, leadership. The athletic directors is big to be able to have stability. Administration, academic administration is great to have stability. And when everyone's working together, that's another big thing. When everyone's working together, you can do a lot more. And so, when we start looking at that, and trust is big as well. When people are giving, they want to be able to trust that what they're giving to, and what they're giving for is going to fruition. It's going to,
Actually,
make it.
be put to work,
Yes,
right?
right. And so that's the other thing is just having, when you have good people that's been around and they have great track records in the sense of you know being trustworthy, and people know them, then they're more willing to give. And so we just have to continue to do our part. And what's that? That means just work with what you have, and then continue to improve upon what you have, and over the course of 3 years, 4 years, you got something better than what you started with, because of stability, because of people see that you're doing things for the right reasons, and that goes a long ways, into what people want to be associated with.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's a great way to leave it. Coach, you guys go on the road. You say you're going to play Jackson State. And I believe you guys stay some time in Mississippi and also play Alcorn State,
Yes,
if I'm not correct, right?
that is correct.
Uh, well, good luck on that trip to Mississippi and see if you can do your Mississippi two-step over there with those guys. And I hope this is not the last time you and I have a conversation. Hopefully, we can be able to meet at the SWAC tournament as well. But
Okay.
thank you for all that you've done. And I can see you have really brought an immediate change for the basketball program. But knowing you, the reach is going to be further than just the basketball coach.
Well, I mean, we're working. Definitely, like I tell everybody, we're working for outcomes just like everybody else. So we'll keep doing that.
You will. You will. That's Coach Charlie Ward. Coach, thank you so much for visiting with us at HBCU Legends. Guys, go out there and help the Rattler Nation, support their initiatives that they have and collectives, and also help with the foundation for Coach Ward and his family, as well as the ranch. I'm Kyle T. Mosley, HBCU Legends on SI, and you guys can follow us at HBCU Legends on all social media platforms, as well as myself at KTMOZE on social media as well. Coach, thank you very much. Have a good
Thanks,
evening.
thanks, Kyle.
All right, take care.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
They put hot honey sauce on the snack wrap. McDonald's outdid themselves again. The classic snack wrap we all know and love, paired with the sweet heat of hot honey sauce, just what we needed to make it even more perfect. You know the drill. So go to McDonald's and try it today.
You know that wellness goal you set at the start of the year? It's not too late to stick with it and make your future self proud, especially with the all-in-one nutrition shake from Kachava. With 25 grams of protein, 6 grams of fiber, greens, adaptogens, and more. No fillers, no nonsense, just the highest quality ingredients. Stick with your wellness goals. Go to kachava.com and use code NEWS for 15% off. That's KACHAVA.com, code NEWS.